All right, I think I am live. Might be like a minute early. I just want to share this to my Instagram real quick, and then I will get started. If you can, I think you can hear me. I don't know. Everything looks different than the last time I did this. So I'm not entirely sure because it has an edit. So we'll give it just a minute. Guess it would help if I posted that. I am going to check. This is crazy. It's been a while. I'm not at home. We are in Illinois at a graduation party. And so that's why the surroundings look a little different. I apologize for the crappy. I feel like I'm always apologizing for the crappy like lighting and stuff like that. It's just life, I guess. So last time I did this, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to check and see. I'm going to check my channel and see if it shows. Yeah, look at that. It shows that I'm live. Go figure. So last time that I did a video, it wasn't a live. It was I just did a video. I want to say it was a week or two after we had gotten home from the hospital in Milwaukee, after the traumatizing visit with that my daughter had, and so we went through. I did 2 months of calculating her calories, monitoring her blood pressure, her heart rate, all of that. And she was getting plenty of calories in, but she keeps losing weight. So we decided we saw a GI from a different system, a different UW system. And we saw a cardiologist as well as an endocrinologist. Unfortunately, like none of them were helpful. The GI did run some tests. None of them could figure anything out. So we decided to go to Mayo in Minnesota, and we got into their complicated, it was a complex children's or pediatric program. We got assigned an amazing pediatrician, and we went out there. We were there for 4 days, 1 week, came home for the weekend, and then we're there for a week. The next week, they were able to get us into GI, ran all the tests, and we have now baffled Mayo. In the meantime, we had another grandbaby. So we have another little granddaughter. My Ellie was diagnosed formally with POTS. This was after a cardiologist said she didn't have POTS because she has bradycardia. So her resting heart rate is always in like the low 40s, sometimes even the 30s. But when she stands up, it jumps 40 to 60 beats a minute, which is POTS. So she was formally diagnosed with POTS, and she already had the diagnosis of dysautonomia, but that was reconfirmed, obviously. And she was diagnosed with hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. So that's thought to be like a really rare condition, but it's actually not. It just, like many things, it was there and there, but the community didn't know a lot about it. It wasn't taught a lot in medical school. And so it's now like coming around that, a lot of people actually do have it. I think I read like 5% of the population or something like that. And Ehlers-Danlos is there's 14 different types, different subtypes, I guess. And so Ellie is the hypermobile. So her skin is really stretchy, very velvety. Her limbs hyperextend. But this also leads into, it's not just about the joints and things like that, but it's also about organs and veins and everything, because it's a connective tissue disorder. So it affects like every system in the body. So we're still trying to figure out how everything connects. Cross air track season ended, and so Ellie's really been working hard to just kind of scale back on her activity to try and keep from burning calories that her body just, I don't know, doesn't have. She eats and eats. She eats over 3,000 calories a day. But her metabolism is slowed. They ran a resting energy expenditure test. And so just for baseline, for her age and everything, like just resting, if she was just laying around all day, she should be burning almost 1,300 calories, and her body is only burning 900 calories. Her digestive system, because we had gastric emptying tests run, so both the liquid and the solid are both very slow, and her thyroid is throttled back. So all of those things, like for all of my training and everything that I know, all of those things say she should be gaining weight. We had 2 malabsorption tests run. One, they were the exact same test, but they were like 2 months apart. One showed it was fine. One showed it wasn't fine, but it could have been the consistency of the stool. So we don't really know. I asked if we could just do a prescription pancreatic enzyme, just on the off chance that maybe it's cycling, maybe we caught it, or maybe one of the tests was wrong. I don't know. And the GI didn't want to do that. So I'm trying to find out if our Mayo pediatrician will just go ahead and do it anyway. But she's never prescribed this particular one, so she wanted to verify with the GI, and I knew what his answer was going to be. And he doesn't think it's a GI issue. I still think it's a GI issue. She did have a scope. The scope came back fine. They didn't see any like evidence of malabsorption on the scope. So it's very frustrating that all the tests keep coming back fine, and it's obviously not fine. There is something that is blocking her body from utilizing the nutrition she's eating. It's either that, or when she's up and about, her body goes from hypometabolism to hypermetabolism, which doesn't make sense. So Mayo Clinic does not, at this point in time, put a lot of stock or faith or have knowledge on mast cell activation syndrome. and I think they're coming around a little bit. At least they put a couple of writings out for testing different things. A lot of Ellie's symptoms and things fit the MCAS, and MCAS almost always goes along with EDS and dysautonomia. So our amazing pediatrician from Mayo, though she does not see how it would help, when they ran the biopsies from the EDG, I asked them to run. There's a special staining, and I asked them to run that. And at first, the GI was not going to do it, and then I talked him into just humoring me, just please, because if we can't find something, at least then we have this. If I have to go somewhere else, at least we have it done, and we won't have to wait for them to get a hold of the biopsies and do it. So he did agree. He agreed. He did it, and just checking something here. I don't understand. All right. Well, anyway. So he did it, and when they came back, my suspicion was confirmed. Her mast cells were elevated, and in the two areas that they took them, the one area was like it should be 20 or above per high-powered field. Hers was 19, and in the other it was 20 or above. Though our pediatrician looked and said it was 30 or above, but I've never read that anywhere, so I don't know. And she had 24 or above. So she did agree to order the Chromalin. And we're giving the mast cell protocol a try, because I have a feeling that if Ellie's in a constant flare, that could be causing some of the issues. Because right now we're at a, blank. We don't understand. Her body temperature keeps dropping. The pediatrician isn't concerned about that. She said that happens with dysautonomia, but then that makes me wonder, if you're really cold, you can't digest food. So, and it's not just that she feels cold, her temperature is low. And they actually verified that at Mayo too, because the cardiologist that we saw here in our town in Green Bay, in his notes, it really kind of ticked me off. In his notes, he wrote in a manner, the way his words came across was he didn't believe us, because he put, they state her body temperature is low. However, this, hasn't been verified. It was verified. He just didn't have those records, because the one time that we went to the ER for it, by the time we got there, because it's a 45-minute trip, by the time we got there, it was down, it was up to 97, which is still low. But she had been drinking hot tea, and we had the heat cranked up and everything. But it's been verified in other doctors' offices and everything that, it's low. And even when they were trying to take her temperature for the endoscopy, their thermometer wouldn't read. And so she finally did get it up to like 97, but she had to rub the tip of the thermometer with her tongue to get it to even read. So it wasn't even an accurate reading. When they did the resting energy expenditure test, her body temp was 96, and that was in the ear. So I'm sure that it was lower than that. So yeah, we're just kind of like, we just don't know. And I don't know where to go from here. We meet with a dietitian on this coming Friday. So I think I'm going to talk to her about maybe adding in some elemental meal replacement. It's expensive, but it doesn't have to. The body absorbs it without it because it's pre-digested, so the body will absorb it without being digested. So it should be easier, even if there's inflammation in the intestines. And all of her inflammatory markers come back normal. So that's why MCAS fits the more and more that we think about it. But we have to get her weight up because she's really, really low. And the pediatrician, she's like, we might need to look at doing an inpatient or an outpatient, but it'd be like a daily thing. And Ellie does not want to do that. She can't go through another setting where they're just sitting there watching her eat. And that's not the issue. And so I'm like, unless it's going to do something, like they're going to hook her up and see what are we actually absorbing, what are we, unless they're going to actually do something like that, it's not worth our money because she's eating at home and she's not digesting it or absorbing it. And so it's not going to be any different in the hospital. Yes, when we were in the hospital in March, she gained 3 pounds. It was all constipation and inflammation. The other thing is that we were at the hotel and she got a protein bowl from the sub sandwich place. It was everything that she had normally eaten except for red wine vinegar. And we didn't think anything of it. And she ate the red wine vinegar, or she ate the salad with all meat and everything on it. And like, I don't know, within half an hour, 40 minutes, she was in so much pain and she was just like so sick. I honestly thought that I was going to end up having to take her to the ER. Thankfully, she was finally able to go to sleep. But the next morning, she was still trying to figure out, and she looked it up, and the red wine vinegar is really high in histamine. And one of the chemical mediators that when the mast cells degranulate, they release histamine. That's one of them. They release prostaglandins, they release cytokines, they release tryptase, but histamine is like the biggest one. And so that actually made a lot of sense. So right now she's on high dose antihistamines, H1 and H2 blockers. And then on Monday, we're going to start her on the cromolyn, which is the mast cell stabilizer. So hopefully we should start seeing some improvement. Any prayers, we can deal with the fatigue, we can deal with the brain fog, we can deal with all of that stuff. We just need to get the weight stabilized. Like that is our biggest piece right now, is getting the weight stabilized. Everything else we can deal with. We can deal with therapies, we can deal with everything, but the weight, because let me tell you, I'm tired and Ellie's tired. This is, number one, a lot of people don't get it. They just don't understand because she looks normal. She looks fine. But she's not fine. It's a chronic invisible illness. And those are the hardest because, you break a leg or you have back surgery or something like that. Like people understand. But when you're a kid and you're like, no, I don't have the energy to go do that. Or, thankfully most people in our lives understand. But it's very difficult and it's always there in your mind. It's just, you have to plan your day around what kind of energy that you're going to have. So if she wants to go do a photo shoot, which she loves doing the photo shoots, she can't do back-to-back photo shoots. She needs like at least a day in between. And then she'll have the photo shoot and then, we come home and rest. But like for me, it's always in the back of my mind because I've taken a step back from like my coaching and things like that because I have to take everything. It's work and then family and Ellie. And I have to figure out what is what is going on. I have to be the researcher because and I can bring things to our doctor at Mayo, and she's very open, but she doesn't have the time to go and research these things. She's like that. I was actually impressed with the small amount of reading that she tried doing for the mast cell. Because the first time that we saw her, she like kind of poo-pooed it. And then when we talked to her on Monday or Tuesday, whenever it was, she had actually done a little bit of extra reading, so she knew about the chromalin, and she's like, well, I was going to suggest let's go ahead and give this a try anyway. And so like that was really great, but she's got a heavy caseload, you know. So yeah, that's basically where we're at. We're just desperately trying to get Ellie's weight up and not have to have her life revolve around food and eating, because that's what her life is like revolving around. Is I have to eat, I have to eat, I have to eat, I need high calorie, I need high calorie, I need high calorie. And that's exhausting for her because it's very stressful. And you know, she longs for the day when she can just eat normally and like not have to worry about it. Or if she's not feeling well, if she misses a meal, it's not the end of the world. Right now, if she misses a meal or misses a snack, it is the end of the world for her. Like she wouldn't notice, but her body would notice. And see, the thing is that Ellie doesn't perceive pain the same way that other people do. So that makes it challenging. There were some things that I thought maybe it could be, but then it wouldn't make sense because the reason that those things cause weight loss is because it hurts. It physically hurts to eat. And so then the people that have like MALS or SMA, their arteries get like collapsed. It's because they're not getting enough calories in because they physically can't, because it hurts. Even if Ellie did have that, she's getting the calories in. Could it be stopping something? Maybe. The doctors say no, because that's not how it works. So I don't know. All the mast cell experts and things like that, they've left the mainstream medical system because it takes a lot of time to deal with someone like Ellie. And so they've started their own independent practices, but they don't take insurance and they get very expensive. And it's just not something we can afford right now. So we're trying to work with what we have and finding doctors that are willing to work with us and try things. So that's where we're at. Life is still good. The chickens are good. They're laying a lot of eggs. When we get home, I've got 2 or 3 that want to be mommies, and I'm not growing my flock this year, so I have to break them up. And so they get put in a kennel and until their hormone changes. So kind of you take them out of that environment that's a dark, warm environment where they would want to raise babies, and then they kind of snap out of it. It takes a couple of days, but so I have to do that on Monday when I get home. We have 4 nest boxes, and inevitably when I go out and check eggs and stuff, there's always 2 or 3 hens in one nest box, and the other 3 nest boxes are empty. They escape their area. They've been trying to help Ryan garden a little. A couple of them, not all of them escape. There's just a couple. Phyllis, one of our 4-year-olds that we raised in the house as a chick. So she likes to be by people. And so if we're out, she flies over her little fence, and so she was out helping Ryan plant things So when he'd find worms, he'd feed them to her. But otherwise, yeah, life is good. We got the 2 grandbabies, so 18 months and a little over a week old. Got another grandbaby coming in August. And yeah, so if you, I hear kids coming down, so I am going to end this. But if you could just keep our family and Ellie in your thoughts and in your prayers, and that this mast cell treatment works and we can start getting her to gain weight, or that the elemental replacement, so that we can use that as a supplement anyway until we can get something figured out. If you can, or if you have been through something like this, or you know someone that has been through something like this, drop a comment, send out a message. But I just wanted to give a quick update on how we baffled the doctors at Mayo. I'm sure there have been other people that have done that, but I don't know anyone that's baffled doctors at Mayo Clinic, but we have. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. The weather is gorgeous here, and I will give another update soon.